So I want to go over the three main changes of here, and I do want to say that overall, this patch, if this is true, if the patch notes are true, I think this is great for the game of Overwatch. I think all of these things, it's solving a majority of the issues in Overwatch, and I think this is going to be amazing for the health of the game. But I did monkey paw it. Junkrat is probably going to be the weakest hero ever to be in Overwatch. In its last 7 years, if the changes go through as is, Junkrat will be pretty much gone. At least in the top 500 in the Grandmaster sense. At the lower levels, he's actually going to become much more powerful, and he's probably going to be much more annoying. So it's very odd that they took him in this direction, but yeah. So what are the three big changes that I want to focus on? The three big changes is the projectile size increase, the health increase, and the DPS passive. Health increase is very simple. Basically, everyone got 25% hit more hit points, more or less. Mainly, DPS and supports are going up to 250, almost across the board, barring Tracer and Widow. Tracer goes up to 175, Widow goes up to 200. The projectile sizes are getting bigger. So shotguns and hit scan weapons, most faster hit scan weapons are getting 0.05. As I mentioned before, both Sojourn was 0.05 to begin with. Pros were missing with it too much, so they increased it to 0.1. In which case it got nerfed back down to 0 to 0.1 based on size. Also, Illari used to be 0.1 meter in size, and that was nerfed down to 0.5 meters. So this is something we are actually used to and frankly comfortable with hitscan being this size. Now technically it is 0.01 in size right now, I believe, and it's going to up, so it's going to be technically 0.06 if it's 0.01 currently. It's definitely going to be bigger, but I don't think it's as crazy as everyone thinks. And it's really important to note that this doesn't increase DPS, at least in the top 500 ranks where people are hitting a lot of their shots. And especially for someone with a large hitbox like Junkrat, just having more health is going to make such a massive difference. Like, quite a massive difference. Because I'm already used to them hitting 2 headshots, body headshot, or, headshot body shot, constantly. So this does give me another hit, which is basically translates to an extra half a second, to a second at most, of living. Slower guns are going up to 0.08, so that actually going to be pretty significant. I think Cassidy's going to be... I know Warning said he's very weak, but there's something to be stated for just always hitting your shots. I'm interested to see what Cassidy's like. Slower projectiles, and this is where it gets a little funky, and where I know people are going to be like, but Junkrat's going to be so good because... projectile sizes for slow projectiles are increased by 0.15. Junkrat's currently 0.25, and it's going to go up to 0.4. The largest Junkrat's projectile has ever been is 0.3. Right now, Sim full charge is 0.5. So, it's going to be very significant. To the point where I can't tell you what it's going to be like. It's going to be bulky. But why this hurts Junkrat so much is that, well, everything gets his, hit point or size increase. Junkrat is basically losing the ability to combo. So, doing 230 damage max, people will survive with 20 health across the board. This takes the assassin rat or the flanking rat out completely. Right? If you were diving on someone as a Junkrat, you had to kill someone before you landed or as you landed, and then you had to kill someone in within a second as soon as you landed after that. With this, you're now, first of all, you're going to have to land an extra shot, which is difficult. Even though projectile size is increased, it's going to be difficult. But it's still going to take that extra shot, which is 0.65 seconds plus travel time. At that point, people have seen you and they're going to turn around and kill you. So at best, you're going to be able to take out one person, maybe. But overall, the assassin rat's gone. Flat out gone. I don't know what to do with Junkrat at this point. There's not a lot of things you can do that other people can't just do significantly better. Like, significantly better. If you're just going to sit behind and start damaging people by shooting them, like a hit scan, just play a hit scan. You're going to be more reliable and you're going to do more damage. And if you start hitting headshots, you have a higher burst damage than Junkrat ever has. So he's going to be in a rough spot. I think everyone else is going to do fairly well. I think it's going to work pretty good overall. The other thing to talk about, and that's the third point, is the new passive for DPS. The new passive, it was covered by a screen, but people have been saying is it's minus 20% healing received for 2 seconds after taking damage from a DPS hero. Now, on the surface level, you could be like, well, then Junkrat moves towards utility. Because he has AoE, mainly with his mine, his primary attack doesn't have much AoE. And I know people are going to say it's bullshit. It has a 2-meter AoE. Zarya has 2.5. Sigma has 3. Helix has 3 or 2.5. Pretty much every explosion in the game outside of Junkrat's primary fire is 2.5 or bigger. Actually, for you to get enough splash damage on someone to kill them, the models have to be intersected. If you have a tank, because they're so big, and you have someone on the other side, they actually take no splash damage if you hit the tank from this side. And even then, they're taking like maybe 10-15 damage. But the idea is maybe Junkrat could spread this anti-heal fairly easily, especially with Concussive Mine. And I think this is what a lot of the Junkrats in the top 500 Discord are really upset about, is that they have no playmaking anymore. They wanted, long story short, they wanted to play for clips. You know, you can win games like this, but, you know, they want that really exciting, risky dive. They want that. They want to be able to put it all on the line, say, all right, I'm going to dive your back lines. If I don't get a kill, my team loses. If I do get a kill, we're going to win easily. And that's been stripped away. So a lot of them actually said they're going to play other heroes or they're just not going to play Overwatch. And I know a lot of people are like, yay, fuck Junkrat. But he's going to be so weak that I think they're setting him up for a rework unless some other changes happen. But yeah, Junkrat's in a garbage spot. Hit scan will do the job. Guys, play Reaper and just shoot. And as long as one pellet hits someone, they take less healing, right? Like, that's going to be really easy. Sombra, you can just spray, hit your whole team. Everyone gets healed less. I will still play Junkrat. In fact, I'll probably pick up streaming and playing again, because this is actually where I think I do rather well. We're going to have to figure out what to do with Junkrat. And I will say, because his projectile size is getting increased to 0.4, Spam Rat in choke points at lower ranks, they're fucking dead. They're fucking dead, guys. Yeah, they may have to take one extra hit to die, but again, everyone knows, I think lower SR players are pretty dumb. They're going to sit in the choke point. They're going to take a lot of hits. They're going to die very easily. So actually, these changes for Junkrat do the opposite of what everyone says he should be doing, right? He is going to become an absolute menace at the lower ranks, and at top ranks, he's going to be pretty much unviable. As for the overall patch, what other things I can say about it? While the increased projectile sizes across the board are going to make things a little easier, what I have to say is the highest, and everyone's going to disagree with me, but fuck them. The highest form of skill expression in anything in life, I don't care if you're an athlete, a musician, play pro gaming, you fucking dance, I don't care. Whatever it is you do is consistency. That is the mark of a true professional or someone who is truly skilled at their craft. If they can do something the same way all the time, effortlessly, that's a master of whatever it is they do. People will be like, oh, well, the projectile sizes are huge. They're a little bit bigger. No one hits 100% accuracy. No one hits 50% accuracy. Most people are like 30 to 40 with most heroes. Junkrat's 20. I took average accuracies in Discord, top 500. Everyone was between 20 and 22%, roughly. So you may hit stuff more often, but you still have to be consistent. And that is still going to be the case. People with better aim are still going to hit more often because they're not hitting 100% right now. They're still going to be shown how good they are. And as long as they get more and more consistent, they can still show their skill and their expression on that. Long story short, I don't think the increased projectile size fully makes up for the increased survivability. I do think flankers overall will have a shittier time. I know everyone's like, with the support passive, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, everyone's getting the support passive now, but the support passive is that they get it faster. So everyone heals at 30 hit points a second after 5 seconds, but supports get it after 2.5 seconds. Now everyone's like, flankers are unstoppable. They're just going to sit around the corner for a second and they're going to get full health. With full health being 250, if you're at like 10 health, it's going to take 8 seconds to get full health. On top of that, you have to wait 5 to not get shot. So that's 13 seconds of you just standing there. That's a long time. It's a very long time. So it's not as crazy as everyone thinks it is. But overall, because burst damage has been, because health pools have been increased, burst damage is now the same, but they can't burst people down. So Tracer's going to be in a rough spot, right? Genji's going to be in a rough spot. Echo's going to be in a rough spot. All of these heroes that are usually like depending on you to have 200 health for you not to get healed for them to get a kill, that extra 50 health matters a lot, and it gives your supports time to heal you before you get killed. So I think Tracer and Genji are actually going to have a little bit of a rougher time. Nowhere near as rough as Junkrat, but everyone thought this was going to be pro flanking, and it's not. With the health increases, it is not pro flanking. It's tough. What I see flankers doing in the new season is that they're either going to initiate for 2 reasons. 1, so they get the jump on someone, get some damage off, and then 2, to get the passive on, so they can't get healed as fast. And then your tank engages. Or the opposite. Your team engages and then you engage, right? The whole point is that you're basically not engaging a full hit point target. You're engaging a target with like 200 health, like you would before, and then you follow up on that. This favors hit scan significantly because they can pick and choose their engagements from distance. Yes. The other big change I think this does, and I mentioned it when playing today, was that my biggest complaint in Overwatch has been hit scan and hit scan dominance. And it actually comes from a map design point of view. We can change this game a lot, and the game's still going to play almost the exact same way. In fact, with these changes, I expect it to not change too much, but we're on our way there. I bet every single point that we fight at currently, we're still going to fight at. We're still going to use 20% of the map. We're not going to use 100% of it. We may go up to like 25, 30%, because now people can actually run in the open and get to cover somewhere else, and it allows more of the map to be used and allows fights to be taken in different places. Right now, for the last like pretty much forever of Overwatch, from every comp you could ever play, it's been fought at the same exact ways. They take place in the same exact corners, same exact shit happens every fucking time. This is a step into actually opening up the map, which will greatly change how many places you can fight, and that changes the game completely. So that's great. That's a good one. I think that was actually all my points. I mean, yeah. The other one is people kind of got at it with Aaron Keller on his one post about saying, hey, Overwatch requires too much teamwork. And I would agree with him. I would actually not call it teamwork. I would call it team dependency. And he's like, that's why we're adding support passive to everyone, and then we're doing all this other stuff. And people are like, he's not consistent. It's a game that requires teamwork. It shouldn't just be a solo and yada, yada, yada. It should be Call of Duty, they say. Overwatch has been too team dependent. Way too team dependent. If one person sucks, you usually lose the game. You have very little carry potential if things aren't going properly. Like, you still need a good basis of team even if you want to carry. By removing burst damage, you give people the ability to teamwork a little bit more. And you kind of, I mean, you basically do allow or not allow people to carry. So, like, it's this really weird mixed idea where you're going to need teamwork, maybe a little bit less of it, and maybe you're going to need it in other different ways. But teamwork is definitely still going to be there. It's just lowering the annoying parts of team dependency. And I think that's really needed. I've been asking for a DPS, the DPS passive to be DPS, half DPS hit points will be shields, so they can regen. And shields regen, I think it's 30 hit points a second, right? It's like after 2.5 seconds. I think it's actually the support passive. But yeah, like, basically they did what I wanted. I was like, sweet. Fucking, I was right on the right path. But even though there's a little bit of things that require teamwork and a little things that require a little less teamwork, doesn't mean this game's going any different direction. We're just getting rid of the big inconsistencies, like the big dips, and just making it a little bit smoother of a transition. Now for the actual patch notes, we can go over them. Like, this is where I'll stop the video, just because going over these one at a time, honestly, it's boring, but we